Part 1 of how to make your music sound its best on Zoom is going to cover using a computer connected to an Ethernet cable and connected to an audio interface. But we need to realize that there are things outside of our control. Maybe you only have one internet provider where you live. That would determine your upload and download speeds. And if your internet provider is sending the internet signal through cable shared through your neighborhood, then that speed could vary at any given moment. Upload speeds are really important in live streaming, and the faster the better. But then whatever platform you're using has servers which are processing and using algorithms to send out your streaming. There are also some time limitations. Instagram Live will let you go for an hour. The free Zoom account limits you to 40 minutes. But that platform you're using has to scale video as well as process audio. Whether someone is watching the concert on a computer screen, a tablet, or a phone, it has to render that video for each device separately. The point is, you can have everything perfectly set up, and the audio quality may not be great. So just remember, your listeners, your audience members are tuning in because they like your songs, they like your performances, they like you. As long as you're delivering a great performance, if your internet speed's a little bit slow, your performance will outshine your internet speed. At this point, though, I do want to give a shout out to my friend, colleague, and tech guru, Jeff Watts, who brought this to my attention so that, we can be cognizant of this. There are some obstacles to good audio quality, and it depends on what device you're using, what your bandwidth is, the quality of a built-in mic on your device if you're going to use a built-in mic. Now, I tried that the first few times I was using Zoom, and I've got to give a shout out now to singer-songwriter Jacqueline Shaw, who hosted an open mic over Zoom early on in about March. I can remember sitting down in front of a MacBook Pro with an acoustic and singing into it. I didn't know what Zoom settings to use at that time, but also the quality of the built-in mic. I was strumming through some bar chords, didn't hear a thing till I started singing. So I suggest whenever possible, avoid using a built-in mic, whether it's on a computer, tablet, or phone. And then there's some software limitations. So in the phone, in the tablet, in the microphone, and a laptop, and settings on Zoom, they're all trying to eliminate background noise. Now, what's wrong with, trying to muffle the dog barking in the background? Nothing. But here's the concept. All of these platforms are for spoken word. Anything that is not a voice speaking is background noise, which includes your musical instrument of choice. So I've coined a phrase before I learned how to get good bandwidth, use an Ethernet cable, and do the settings in Zoom. I would call it internet guitar warble. The guitar would just sound horrible. And if you don't believe me, call up a friend that you know that plays guitar and have him play a song to you over the phone, and you'll hear what I'm talking about. So let's focus on the things that we can control. Let's control the controllables. Use your most powerful device. I'm going to say go with your computer. All right? Then you will need a computer if you want to take advantage of the new audio enhancements in Zoom version 5.2.2, which was released on September 1st, 2020. If you've got a tablet, if you've got a phone, that's all you've got that you can use. Again, that's what you'll have to use. Now I'm going to give another shout out to JJ Shock and Dolly Ramirez of Divine Rebel Music. They have a very concise video on setting everything up optimally. I will not be so concise, so check them out on Divine Rebel Music on YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook. All right, so let's optimize that computer. Connect it to an Ethernet cable and then to the internet. If you have an Ethernet cable connected, don't forget to turn off your Wi-Fi. Now, maybe your computing device doesn't have an Ethernet port to plug into, or a network card for that matter. So you might need to purchase an adapter, and these are readily available online. The picture on the left shows the USB 2.0 style connector to an Ethernet port. The picture on the right shows the newer USB-C connector to a newer computer and an Ethernet port also. Both of them have additional USB ports, which is a good thing because I'm going to talk about plugging in an audio interface, and if you don't have any open USB ports, this will help with that as well. Alright, so figure out how long of an Ethernet cable you will need. They do sell 150-foot long Ethernet cables. Obviously, you can get much shorter, but 150 feet, they do sell them. So continue to try to optimize your internet usage on your modem and router during a live stream. So if it is all possible, avoid having someone watching Netflix while you're doing your live stream. And perhaps maybe not even have someone watching your live stream in another room on another device, because that's sharing your bandwidth. If you have great upload and download speeds, it won't matter, but if you're struggling to get good upload and download speeds, then that will be important. Alright, I suggest doing a speed test to see what's available to you, and I suggest doing that as part of your warm-up routine before your live show. Test your speed right before you go live, see what you've got available for you. Alright, again, if you're using Ethernet, which is what I recommend, don't forget to turn off the Wi-Fi. For people that don't want to go that route, make sure you're close to the modem and router so you get a good, strong signal strength. Alright, check your internet speed. There's plenty of places and websites to do that. Speedtest.net is just one of them. Alright, again, only have programs open that need to be used for the live stream on your computer. That will help optimize your device. If you have a keyboard and mouse that use Bluetooth, you have no choice, but if it doesn't, turn Bluetooth off. And on the Macs, make sure to turn off notifications so we don't hear beeps every time you get a text message or an email. And think about this right before you go on to do your live stream. Think about it walking up on stage. It's a good time to put your cell phones on tablets on Do Not Disturb also. What about microphones? Well, we're avoiding the built-in ones. Medium or large diaphragm condenser mics are good choices for home recording and live streaming. If that's of interest to you, research a condenser mic that best suits your needs and your budget. And the audio interface will provide that phantom power for you. If you already have a dynamic mic, that's a great choice for live in-person performances, so you might have one. It works great for live streaming as well, as long as you're going through an audio interface. Maybe you already own a Shure SM58 or Sennheiser E835 or something equivalent or better. What about miking your guitar? My personal preference is to plug my acoustic guitar directly into the audio interface. I'm going for the stronger signal strength. I have an acoustic guitar that has a great sounding preamp and pickup system, so that's what I like. I've heard people use one condenser mic for guitar and vocal, and then the guitars didn't sound so great. If you have two condenser mics or two dynamic mics, go for one on your vocal and one on whatever instrument you're using. Now, there are exceptions to that, so I need to give a shout out to Late for the Train. I heard them perform a live stream as a duo, so check them out. Both of them sing, swap off on guitar, both play violin, mandolin. They had one condenser mic connected to the audio interface, and it sounded great. It's the Myrtle from Ear Trumpet Labs is what they were using. I also heard a stream from Doug and Annette Conlon, two of them actually. One, they had some amplification going, and then they used a condenser mic to capture the ambient room sound. Now, I'm also going to give a shout out to Severin Brown. I was telling him to plug his guitar directly into the interface, and he didn't like that sound. So he had one condenser mic on his vocal and a second condenser mic on his acoustic guitar. And I'll tell you, the acoustic guitar sounded great. So if you've got that available, go for it. All right, audio interface. It allows you to bypass that built-in mic, bypass the software that's controlling that mic, allow you to use your music quality mics, and then connect the interface via USB. And an important point, is you need an audio interface and headphones, according to Zoom, to take advantage of their new audio enhancements in version 5.2.2 and higher. 5.2.2 was released on September 1st, 2020, and does have a lot of great things, but I'm going to be talking about that in part 2 of this series. So part 2 is completely focused on Zoom settings on their website, zoom.us, and in the client that you download, so tune in for that. Alright, well, an audio interface, you can plug your headphones into it and you can monitor your own sound. You know what your guitar is, or your piano, or your whatever instrument you're playing in relationship to your vocals. You can mix those. They've got built-in mic preamps. They've got analog to digital converters, which we need to send that information out over the internet. And again, you can adjust the volume of your instrument and your vocal. Some audio interfaces don't have indicator lights. I like the ones that do, so you can tell if your signal is too loud and it's going to clip. So I'm going to talk about 2 entry-level devices, the Focusrite Scarlett 2i2 on the left and the PreSonus Studio 24C on the right. They both come in at $160 currently. One of the things I like about them is they have indicator lights for signal strength. So you can see around this gain on the right for the Focusrite, it's green, or if it goes to yellow, good signal. If it goes to red, you're going to get clipping. The Studio 24C has the built-in signal strength lights built into the front, so you can clearly see them. If you don't have an audio interface, try a mixer. Some of them have a USB port, and try connecting the USB port to your computer. If not, try going tape out, monitor out, main out. Find audio connector cables to accomplish that. And it might be too loud for your computer's mic input, but give it a try instead of going out and buying an audio interface. And actually, this method works with your phone, but you have to carefully check your levels. So I'm going to give a shout out to Irene Espiritu, who told me that she did one concert where she was connecting her mixer directly to her phone, and it sounded great, but you have to check your levels. Phones don't have, level strength indicators on them. You can buy a software app that will, but you could also just record something, video or audio, and play it back to see if your signal strength is too strong or not. Alright, another experiment that I tried, so I'm going to give a shout out to Brad Kohlrich on this. We both have Mackie Pro FX12 mixers. They have a USB connector. It uses this old printer cable connector on one end and then the USB 2 style on the other. So thanks to Brad Kohlrich, we spent some time connecting them to our computers and doing a Zoom sound check. We had to adjust the USB input level, decide whether we wanted USB through or not, and then adjust the headphones. And we didn't like the way it worked. Quite honestly, we had to have the gain controls all the way up, the slider volumes all the way up, just to get a reasonable signal, and then it was just start to clip. But maybe you've got another mixer that has that would work better. Maybe we just didn't have our settings right that day, but it didn't work for me. There are combo mixers and audio interfaces in one. There's the PreSonus Studio Live AR12C, and I heard that with my own ears. It sounded great. It's a little bit pricey at $600. There's also an 8-channel version of that as well. So I want to give a shout out to Jim and Karina Carter for telling me about this. But what if you want reverb on your vocals, EQ your vocals, and EQ your musical instrument? Well, you can use your mixer and your audio interface. Your mixer probably has line outs. Check your audio interface to see if it has line in connectors. If not, try going the main out or headphone jack out or any other out. But check the documentation that comes with your audio interface. The 2 I just mentioned, there were 2 inputs in the front. You could plug in a microphone, a guitar, piano, but read the manual to see if they will accept line level strength, which I believe that many of them will. And you already know the settings you like on your mixer from live in-person concerts, how you like to EQ your voice and your instrument. I know other people have been doing this, but I'm going to give a shout out to Marty Axelrod because he is the first one that I heard with my own ears running his mixer into his audio interface. It sounded great. So yes, if you want to get that reverb, if you want to get the EQ going, it's a really good choice if you own both of them. All right, so I'd like to give some shout-outs again to Jeff Watts, singer-songwriter Jacqueline Shaw, J.J. Schock and Dolly Ramirez of Divine Rebel Music, Brad Kohlrich, Irina Spiritu, Marty Axelrod, Jim and Karina Carter, Late for the Train, it's David and Laura, by the way, Doug and Annette Conlon, Severin Brown, and I am Dave Clausen at E Major 9 Productions. Please tune in to part 2, where I go over all the settings on the Zoom.us website and the clients to take advantage of the new Zoom 5.2.2. All right, hope to see you then.